So just sliced into this, and we got ourselves a nice open crumb. This is really pretty. I'm pretty pleased with this. Hey, what's up? I am baking bread. I'm gonna make a dough. This is a tutorial about making a sourdough country loaf. This is a starter that I fed this afternoon, and it's very active. So I mean, this is like a matter of hours, and it is very bubbly and ready to be used to make the sponge. Okay, so I've got my scale here. This is the jar we're gonna make the sponge in, and I've got water. So I've got this is like room temperature water, but I'm gonna pour in 100 grams of water and 100 grams of flour, white flour. Oh wait, I need 200 grams of water, my bad. Because I'm gonna do 100 grams of the white flour and 100 grams of wheat. And 200 grams of water. So 100% hydration. Oops, that's fine. So 400, a little over 400. All right, good enough. And we are gonna put in a tablespoon of this nice. Okay, so we got a tablespoon of this, and we're gonna mix it all up. Okay, just so we can do a comparison. So it's 9:18 Friday night, and this is how our sponge looks after I just mixed it, and it's gonna look very different in the morning. Okay, welcome back. It's noon Saturday, so. And here's how it looks. So I checked on it at like 9 this morning. So you can see it's nice and bubbly. It looks much different from last night. Okay, once again, I've got my scale. I've got water. I've got this water a little bit hot. Not too hot, but since it is a little bit chilly in the house, I'm gonna have it a little bit warm. And we're going to measure out this water. Okay, 535, right on the money. Now, I've zeroed out my scale. I'm going to add 150 grams of the sponge. It should float. So one way you can test to see if your leaven is ready as if it floats. Okay, I've got 150 about grams of the leaven measured out, and now I will just stir it until it's mixed in with this nice warm water. Now I'm going to add 75 grams of wheat flour. Okay, adding bread flour here to bring us up to a total 750. Now I'm gonna mix this dough. So now we've got this mixed. It's a bit of a shaggy dough. So I haven't added salt yet. And the recipe, I'm not sure what this does, but I'm gonna let this dough rest for 20 minutes. And then I'm gonna add the salt and a little bit more water. 50 grams of water. And 15 grams of salt. Okay. So now I'm just mixing in this salt and the added water. Okay, I've got my dough looking a little something like this. Everything's mixed in. And gotta wash my hand, but I'm gonna go ahead and cover that. Sometimes I'll cover my dough with a damp towel. Just get it wet, and that'll help the dough to not dry out quite so much. Time for the first fold. This is my very good setup. But basically, what we're gonna do is take the bottom of the dough, pull it up over the top, then flip the bowl around, do that same thing, and then just fold it over on top of itself about, I don't know, 6 times, whatever it is, until the dough is basically flipped and you've kind of got a full thing. I don't know. First fold done. Okay, this is the end of the second fold. It's 7:30, so this first rise is actually taking about 7 hours. But as you can see, it is nice and puffy and has expanded to roughly double the size. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to pre-shape the loaves. We're going to dump out our dough. Onto this clean surface. I've got my trusty bench knife. And what I'm going to do is try to divide it exactly in half. And it doesn't always work out quite so exact. So I've got it roughly in half. I'm going to dust the top of this with just a little bit of flour. And then flip it over to the floured side. I didn't do such a great. It's fine. It's fine. So this is a pre-shape, so you don't have to be, you want to be a little bit gentle with it, but it really is not super important. Now what we're doing is just taking this bench knife and starting to develop a little bit of what you want is some tension on this crust here. So you're just kind of shaping it into a round while trying to pull that top of it. And this is a wet dough. It's very sticky, so it's kind of sticking to my bench knife. So it might give you a little bit of trouble, but again, this is a pre-shape. You don't want to go whole hog and knock all the air out of your loaf. But this is not the final shaping, as I'll show you in the next step. So once I've got these loaves in a nice round shape with with a nice bit of tension on that surface. Yeah, this one is really sticking. But you know what? This like 7-hour rise time. This is a wet dough, but really feeling pretty good about the potential for these loaves to really hold their shape. So now we're going to do a 20-minute bench rest. I'm going to drape a kitchen towel over it to protect from drafts and be back in 20. We're going to, after the bench rest, we're going to do the final shaping of the loaves, and then we're going to put them in bowls to help them hold the shape during the final rise. A couple of clean kitchen towels, and use them to line your bowls or your colander. And I've got my flour, and I am going to dust the towels with a generous amount of flour, because you do not want to have, you don't want the loaf to stick to these towels. So this is the end of the bench rest, and they flattened out a little bit. So now we're going to do the final shaping. So to do that, we take this side, fold it over, and then this side, fold it over, and stretch this out a little bit. Do the same on the other side, and then we get like a nice little package. Roll that over. And I'm going to pull that toward me again to make a nice round shape. And we want the surface to have that tension. So we've got a nice shaped loaf here. We're going to pick it up. And put it with so the top is going to be face down and the seam is going to be up. Okay, so we'll do that again here. Okay, so pick this up with my knife and place it upside down in the bowl. Okay, 9 o'clock Sunday morning. I just took one of the loaves out of the fridge, and we're going to take a look at that, but I'm going to let it rest for, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. And then I'm going to start heating up the oven. So I've got I got a pizza stone here, and that's what I'm going to be baking it on. And I've got a loaf pan, and I'm going to boil some water and pour boiling water in the loaf pan when I put the bread in to create steam. So here's what the bread looks like after its final rise overnight. You probably can't see in the video, but it is a little bit dried out, which is fine. That's actually what we want. That's going to turn into a nice crust. Okay, so this is the loaf after I've taken it out of its little basket. And yeah, there's plenty of flour. Just gonna dust some of that off. We could draw a little design in this if we wanted. Should make a little design. Let's I'm gonna draw my dog and see how well it stays. There's her little ears, and her snout, and she's got a big happy smile, and that's her tongue. Great. Okay, so we're gonna score it, and to score it, so I've got this chopstick. So I'm improvising what's called a lame, and so it's just a double-edged razor blade stuck on a chopstick. Instant lame. Okay, so you can score it in different ways. Go ahead and give it some ears. And what scoring does is allows it, so all the steam that's going to come up out of this loaf is now going to come out of the scores. Right, so we're ready to put this in the oven. Okay, so here's my bread on my stone. So the oven's preheated to 500, by the way, and there's my loaf pan with boiling water. The oven's at 500, but I'm going to go ahead and drop that down to 450. So I'm going to, after about 20 minutes, I'll see how it's doing, and I'll rotate it some. Different parts of the oven are hotter, and to get a nice even bake, I'll just be rotating it. Alright, let's check on it. Oh yeah, looking good. Alright, so we can see here, that's kind of interesting. Anyway, so you kind of see how it's not baking entirely evenly, which is to be expected. Let's see how it looks. Looking nice. Looking pretty nice. Okay, we're at the end of 35 total minutes. Got a pretty nice looking brown crust. Okay, we got the second loaf just out of the oven. And we got a nice deep brown on that crust. I am pretty happy with this. So overall, you know, they're a little bit rustic, but I'm pretty pleased with both of these loaves. They held their shape really well, and yeah, I think they're both pretty in their own way. I'm gonna slice into it. We're gonna look at this crumb. So we're doing a crumb reveal. All right, so just sliced into this, and we got ourselves a nice open crumb. This is really pretty. I'm pretty pleased with this. The crust right now is still cooling, but it's got a nice, it's crisp, but it's not tough. Oh yeah. This turned out well. All right, so it's noon on Sunday, and we've got 2 loaves of bread now. Started at 9 o'clock on Friday, I believe. And here we are, ready to dig in.